Today is May 14, 2025. My name is Rob Carr of Kalamazoo Right to Life, and this is Pro-Life Week. Well, some real disturbing news was announced this morning, and I'm going to be reading, this came from lifenews.com, which obviously you know that I've referenced many times. So I'm gonna read here. A Michigan Court of Claims judge. Now this is a story that has some legs to it from last year. A Michigan Court of Claims judge has struck down several pro-life laws designed to protect unborn babies and ensure women's safety, ruling them unconstitutional under the state's 2022 pro-abortion amendment. That's Proposal 3. The decision, handed down Tuesday by Judge Seema Patel, eliminates, and this is what's now declared unconstitutional, a 24-hour waiting period, informed consent requirements, and restrictions on non-physicians performing abortions, prompting an outcry from pro-life activists who argue these measures safeguard both mothers and their unborn children. The overturned laws, which included a mandatory 24-hour waiting period before an abortion, were intended to give women time to reflect on their decision and receive critical information about fetal development and potential health risks. The informed consent policy required providers to share details about the abortion procedure, including the gestational age of the baby and resources for pregnancy support. Pro-life groups such as Right to Life in Michigan contend these measures ensured women made informed choices without coercion, protecting their physical and emotional well-being. Quote, the Michigan Court of Claims' ill-fated ruling is an immediate threat to the health and safety of women across our state, said Right to Life in Michigan President Amber Roseboom. Continuing, quote, the overturn of informed consent for women considering an abortion flies in the face of both common sense, medical practice, and the democratic process. Okay, she's continuing, Amber Roseboom. Quote, abortion is the only medical procedure of its kind in which the patient now is expected to go in blind. There is no question that women are at greater risk when they enter an abortion clinic in Michigan today than they were even a few years ago. As a result of this dangerous ruling and disregard for patients' rights, women in Michigan are no longer guaranteed access to important facts related to abortion. The informed consent and the 24-hour waiting period law had been in place for more than 30 years, providing women seeking an abortion with medically accurate information, including common risks associated with the procedure. The timing of this decision could not be more concerning, as the state faces an unprecedented spike in serious complications from abortion, up 38% in just 1 year. So this is really disturbing news. And I have to believe that this decision is going to be appealed to the Michigan Court of Appeals or to the Michigan State Supreme Court. But if it does get to the Michigan State Supreme Court, it's controlled by pro-abortion Democrats. So, you know, I'm very concerned that Michigan residents have lost a 24-hour waiting period. I mean, I think back to that state rep from Detroit who opposed getting rid of informed consent or a 24-hour waiting period. And I think she said something like, if you're contemplating ending the life of your unborn child, it's not too much to ask that you be given a day or 24 hours to think about that decision. Well, that's now gone in the state of Michigan. Okay, that's the bad news. Here's a good story. South Carolina Supreme Court today unanimously upheld the Fetal Heartbeat and Protection Act. that protects the lives of unborn children when a heartbeat is detected, usually by 6 weeks at gestational age. The 27-page opinion upheld that of the Fifth Circuit Court Judge Daniel Cobble, who ruled in May of 2024 in favor of the Heartbeat Act, noting that it was the will of the General Assembly to establish the fetal heartbeat at 6 weeks gestation, with limited exceptions, including protections for the mother's life and health. The Fetal Heartbeat Act protects unborn children when the fetal heartbeat can be detected. Quote, "This is a win not only for the heartbeats of the unborn, but for all the members of our human family who may become or who are vulnerable in our society," said Lisa Van Ripper, president of South Carolina Citizens for Life. It's also a win for a constitutional law in South Carolina because the court has rightly given deference to the General Assembly's desire to protect human life, this Ripper said. Okay, third item. This has to do with the boogeyman of the abortion industry, Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood released its annual report the day before Mother's Day. Covers the years 2023 and 2024. The data does not surprise me, but it does anger me to no end. Planned Parenthood is a company that kills babies. You know, you think about businesses. Capitalists are a capitalist society. The Ford Motor Company, they make cars, they sell cars. Pfizer makes and sells pills and drugs. Chick-fil-A sells chicken sandwiches and some milkshakes and fries. Companies make a product and then they sell it for profit. Planned Parenthood, they sell death. Yeah. They might talk about some of these other things they provide for, but the nuts and bolts of Planned Parenthood is in the number of abortions they perform and the millions and millions of dollars they receive killing babies. So let's look at some numbers, past and present. You'll see a trend here. In 2005, Planned Parenthood clinics performed 943,000 abortions. That was 726 abortions per day, every day. Okay, so almost 265,000 abortions. And they chart, the number rose steadily. In 2009, the number was at 325,000 abortions. And then it kind of plateaued from 2009 to about 2016. And then it began jumping up again. In 2020, the number of abortions was 380,000 babies. Back in 2009, it was at 325. That was that plateau period, 325. So it exploded. In 2024, this study that came out last week, the number of abortions for the first time, this is just Planned Parenthood. This is not other independent abortion clinics, just Planned Parenthood. The number of abortions was 402,230 abortions. So you break that down per day. Remember, it was 700. What did I read here? 726 abortions per day back in 2005. Now it's 1,102 abortions per day, every day. It's a thriving $2.5 billion in net assets, $972 million in government funding, and that's up from $699 million last year. So taxpayers are shelling out $93 million more in government funding this year than last year. So, it's a never-ending spigot, this feeding trough that Planned Parenthood is getting from our hard-earned tax dollars. Okay. So Planned Parenthood talks about all the, they kind of dismiss the abortion numbers when they're talking about all the wonderful things they do. The cancer screenings and the pap tests and abortion referral. Adoption referrals and contraception and well care. Doctor visits and all that stuff. So let's look at some numbers here. The number of breast cancer screenings and pap tests are down 10% from last year. So they're doing far fewer breast cancer screenings. Adoption referrals. So remember, we're looking at 402,000 abortions in 2024. Number of adoption referrals, 2,148. Now that was up a little bit from the previous year, but it's down by half compared to 5 years ago. So 5 years ago, they were doing like maybe 40 or 4,000, 4,200 adoption referrals. Now they're doing 2,200. So they are doing 6 adoption referrals per day, 1,100 abortions per day. Big difference. 6 adoption referrals, 1,100 abortions. Not much choice. Not much choice. And what is Right to Life in Michigan's message? Life, the other choice. If women are given choices, options, if they're given the information, one of their options must be the option to choose life for their baby. And we all know, I'm assuming we know, that since Planned Parenthood lives and dies by abortion, that's their bread and butter. You go into an abortion clinic, a Planned Parenthood clinic, and they're going to sell you their product. And their product is abortion. Right now, Planned Parenthood has a brand new commercial on TV. And I've only seen it twice, but I think I counted 14 times when the narrator uses the words me, my, our, my rights, my choice, my health, my healthcare. It's all about me. It's all about me. My rights, my life, my aspirations, my career. I mean, you talk about being narcissistic, self-absorbed. The entire abortion industry is self-absorbed. And the Right to Life of Michigan ad that's going to be up hopefully very soon, it's called Courage. And it talks about women who are in crisis situations and in the courage that it takes to give that baby life. It's self-sacrifice that you're giving of yourself so that another person can live and thrive and have a life full of abundance and hope and blessings in a future. And that's the courage of giving life, not taking life like Planned Parenthood. If ever an organization deserves to be defunded, Planned Parenthood is that organization. With that, I'll let you go and I'll see you next time.